This is no step increase.
Bob, I'm gonna try to give Tom a call and see.
He just emailed me.
Oh, did he? Is he not coming or?
Not coming.
Okay.
Oh, come on. I don't need this right now.
If he's gonna do it, then we gotta figure it out. I can't just, I understand he's got a lot of work. He's gonna be just-
I don't have my gavel. Call this meeting to order at 6:07. Would you please rise to Pledge of Allegiance?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. I'll start the roll call starting on my left.
Larry Brown.
Peg Heard.
Humphrey Williams?
Andy Rodson, Selectman's Rep.
Bob Carrier, Chair. Tom McDougal will not be here tonight. He's as his wife needs to take care of his wife. So, first order of business. Oh, did the board want to open their meeting, or have you already opened it or closed it?
We adjourned our meeting.
Okay.
We'll open our meeting now.
Okay. What I'd like to do, first of all, is ask the committee to... This is getting... Pardon me. I gotta shut this thing off. Oh God, if I could.
Anybody have a bucket of water?
No, if you do, let me know. Okay. As I said, for the interruption. So we want to skip the general items first, because we've already had a chance to read this book. It's been out for a while. Do we need to go through the general items, and can we go to the people we have here? I need a consensus from the board.
I'll make a motion to start
Well-
with the people who are here.
Okay, we didn't really need a
Okay.
I can't do that.
Then I will do consensus then.
Yeah,
Yeah, we don't need a motion for that. We can.
no, we can just go right into it. Now, my understanding is that the principals are not here tonight, correct?
They will be here tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night?
Yep.
Okay, so I gotta see who you got here, because I'd like to start.
Hey, Bob, if
Yes.
you could, the tomorrow night part, I think we should address now,
Okay,
because of the fact that
Well,
this
there's
room is
nothing-
actually available for what we understand. So
there's nothing confirmed yet from me, as I have to talk to the, land use clerk about the
actually
room.
tomorrow, yeah.
Okay, and I'll have to email everybody, but if we have the room available, the meeting will be held here. Okay, instead of the, library. Okay. Since I'm not familiar with too many people here, yes, Errol?
Sir, will you have to post it if there's change?
The agenda has to be posted and everything else, but we can make adjustments to
I
the
will-
location.
Okay,
Tell you
that's fine
what-
with me. I'm just trying to make sure
Yeah.
that all of us are.
We're gonna conduct this. We haven't got time. Time is very short right now. We didn't know about this. I didn't know the ZBA was not gonna be here,
Yeah.
and I had a busy day, so I did not check in, so
Yeah, I'm just
there's
trying
only
to
so much I can do with this.
you know,
okay?
make sure it-
Yes, Larry, you got something?
Just that the meeting is somewhat unexpected for you. Tomorrow is coming. We will probably be meeting again after tomorrow, and what is convenient for your schedule, for your time right now, is fine, and just that things should go through you as you are the chair for the evening. And thank you for the work.
Okay, well, the secretary, I believe, will be taking these minutes by video. I was gonna take them, and I can't do both. I tried to do it before, I can't, just in case that video goes off. So what I'd like to do is, who do we have? Yes,
Bob,
Doug.
you will not be getting, we had a problem with the warrant articles. We got two that we had a problem with tonight that's gonna have to be run back by the attorney.
Yep.
We can give you the ones we have done, but there's two that we're having a problem with.
Well, you can give us what we got, and then we'll meet probably that, I don't have my calendar with me. This was totally, I'm caught off guard, so you have to bear with me. I believe I had that the 14th.
Yeah, I think that was it, Bob.
Okay, January, okay. This is not the right one. Okay, the 14th is when we need the more articles. That's when we're gonna make our recommendation, the 14th of January.
Okay, well, you have, definitely have them by that date.
Okay. All right, now, what I want to do is whatever departments are here, I'd like to go through them here. Like, Bob Adams, you're here. You want to speak to your department? If there's any questions on it? I'll bring you first because the principals tomorrow is what I need for the rest of the stuff, I believe, anyway. I'm probably going out of order, but
That's okay.
That's fine.
Page 19 is where that starts.
oh, thank you for that.
Or 18, excuse me. Thank you.
Okay. Would it help, Bob, if I would just probably ask the committee if they have questions on it? Does anybody from the committee? I gotta wait, one person's missing.
Yeah, give him just a second to come back, but trying to get to where it is on here, because I had some.
Sorry.
I don't think I did.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Bob? This is right, primarily, we're going through this, unless you want to go through every line, we can go through it. Or if Bob can show me the highlights of it, what it is. Because your budget is not really that bad, but there was a question I had, and I don't have the right book.
Yeah, a lot of the items, the lines are based on a 3-year historical average actual. So we tried to do, look at level funding, those wherever we could with our current default budget.
Okay, there is one question I have, Bob, and that's number, oh, I can get either one. 100, 26, 10, 543, 300, I will use -2. The repair of buildings. Okay, you have a capital reserve fund, I think, for the same thing.
We have it for, to try and handle exceptions beyond normal, what we would normally do. If you wouldn't mind, if you look at page 44, it has a breakdown. So it's not just anticipated or unanticipated repairs. There's inspections, monitoring service, preventative maintenance, waste disposals in that line as well, and a lot of the contract services as well.
Actually, while you're on the waste
Page
disposal
44.
one, I
Yeah,
had
okay.
one question on that
Okay,
one, so.
please, before, let him finish his statement, then please wait for me, because I want one voice. Okay, Humphrey, go ahead.
Under the waste disposal, Bob, the
Yeah.
question that I have is, under the elementary, you get $11,900 on one, and under the elementary for the dumpster. But under the elementary, it's $7,800. I'm trying to find out why there's such a difference in, it's a dumpster, so that's a
Oh,
question.
we do waste recycling as well,
Yeah.
Not waste, I meant, we do general recycle, so that's all paper and cardboard.
Mhm.
And there's a lot more generated at the high school, so it's a larger container. Both containers actually for regular trash and recycle are larger at the high school.
Okay.
If you look at the square footage, the high school is about 2/3
Well,
of
it-
the real
it- yeah, it
estate
doesn't- yeah, it
versus
doesn't-
1/3.
It doesn't say it here for the dumpster. I was just asking because
Yeah.
it was just a general question because I noticed it was different on the two.
Mhm.
So,
Bob,
Yes,
what line are we on?
for operation and
I'm on
maintenance.
page four, I was on page 44 and on page 43, Peg, under waste disposal, it shows the dumpster at 7,800.
Oh, okay, so they're two different ones. I'm sorry, I was looking at
And
the
on
lines
page
the-
44, it shows it at 11,900. So my question was why there was a difference
Okay, thank
between
you.
the two.
That's good.
That's all I had for questions on all of that, so.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead, Andy.
So how long have we had this same dumpster service? And is it waste management?
I don't know how long, but it's been several years.
Mm-hmm.
I know when we last looked at it, we weren't able to do the recycled components with at least one of the other companies. So it actually turned out less because we're able to do that. We actually have a program that's run out of the middle school where the children are actually participating in filling the containers. So we fill them in the classroom and then they transport them all twice a week to the recycle. But I remember when Nathan, I don't know if you remember offhand.
It was a few years ago
Yeah.
when we did that, yeah.
Yeah, I can't answer that directly, sorry.
No, I just didn't know if it would be wise to, look at, getting, a cost of different vendors. If we've had them for several years, there's a lot of new companies out there, and it might just be prudent that it wouldn't hurt anyways.
Mhm.
Just to look at, 'cause it is. I know getting rid of MSW I know it's very expensive, but I just throwing that out there.
Okay.
Bob, I actually do have.
Go ahead.
And Nathan, maybe this is one you'll answer. There are a number of items, and I'm not going to ask about the FICA stuff till later. I want just a general understanding of where that's coming from. But I noticed under like the retirement lines, there was zero budget for 3 years in a row, and now we've got, now we've got retirement and FICA under custodians, substitute, it looks like, and the supervisor. I mean, what?
Yep.
There's something changing here, obviously. So
Yeah, under the in the memo, I tried to go over that under the masking corrections.
Yeah, I see it says mass correction. I don't know what that
Okay,
means.
so-
All I had was a note that says mass corrections. And
Okay, so
Probably-
basically, in the new system, well, in every accounting system, you have what's called a masking, which means any deductions that come from someone's salary is masked to specific accounting that lines up with it.
It's probably a bad term.
We've discussed that, yes.
No, I understand that.
But
That's just,
it's so for example, FICA has to be a certain line number
Mhm.
in order to tell the system if so and so is making $100, they need to take out X amount for FICA and
Yep.
retirement. And in the old system, it was very generic. The masking was very generic, whereas this system, it's very specific.
Okay.
And you will see that throughout the whole entire book. but
well,
that's
I
what
noticed
that
it does,
means.
the account note says mass corrections, so
Yeah.
that's why I'm trying to find, I mean, I didn't have the book until after I had gone through the file, and like I said, when I see 000, then I
Yeah.
see numbers.
Does that clear it up for you, though?
It clears up that, yeah, you're making some adjustments. I just didn't know what that adjustment might be, because all of a sudden, like I said, why?
So the adjustment
Is it that the
just account
system didn't
number.
allow you to go back and look at what was in there in the previous, on some of the previous years? I mean, you must have had retirement money and FICA in there for these line items in the past few years.
Right, but now that we have the new system, the system automatically generates.
Okay.
So every time if I would go in and fix it, it would resort back to those numbers. So instead of fighting it, I went through the whole system and reassign those account numbers.
I think that's just what makes it hard to go back and look, because I'm trying to look at past information and no data,
Okay.
so.
Larry?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this would be the line holder specific for that.
Well, if you look at, let's
Well,
use the custodian subs overtime.
Mm-hmm.
Line number 100, 2610, 51290-1.
512 or 522?
51290-1 for the salary line.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay.
So it is.
So if anybody is working that hits that account number,
Mhm.
it's automatically going to take the FICA from the 52290, and then it's going to take retirement from 52390.
So then the information is cross-fed to the individual line occupant.
Yes.
Okay.
Whereas-
Does it also do HIPAA? Yeah, as required, protection?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Whereas in previous years, the OT, the subs, and the custodial salaries were all combined into one specific line, which was custodian's FICA.
If I could, Bob.
Go ahead.
It was easy to figure out where the FICA went. I mean, there's no doubt
Okay.
about it. But, and I guess I'll just ask the question to get it through generally. I'm confused on, I understand people are buying out, and I mean, this, when I say it's suspect, because I see over 7.65, and then I see some stuff under 7.65%. We had problems in the town budget. So I want to make sure it's not another situation. Matter of fact, in the town budget, it became an issue that required legal actions.
Wow.
Okay? So I immediately look at it and see like 8%, 9%, and then a couple of them were under 7.65%. So I know when I asked the question, I started with all the ones over 7.65 because it says it didn't make sense to me that they were going that way. Understanding, and that's why I want to make sure this is clear, that some people aren't taking benefits, so they're receiving money from not buying into the health and dental, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And that gets.
So when I look at a salary, but I'm looking at the salary line, for instance, and I will use a couple very specific here because I've actually got right here in this one. This one's it's pretty easy to look at. Under the custodian's FICA, which is 126.10.52.10.1, it's 8%. Okay, the $7,117.18 goes to the line up above for custodians' salaries. There's and this one's for the high school, and this is the elementary. No, this one's the one I'm talking about is the elementary. It's line 1, correct?
It's gonna be out of both of them. They're both are gonna be over 7.65% if you base it on the custodial salaries, because there's at least one person in both schools that takes a buyout.
Well, and that's where I'm trying to figure out, where does that show? Because if that would be added to the salary, and is that what you're telling me? You're adding that to
It's
the
not-
salary and then taking 7.65%
It's
of that?
calculated. No, it's calculated at the 7.65%, but the buyout is in the custodial health. So the 521.101. That's where the expense comes out of.
Okay, so there is a portion in there that causes the increase in the percentage.
Mhm.
So what about the one, there's a handful in here, I don't remember which ones without going through, that were below 7.65
For this current,
for the fiscal
I
year?
would need to look at them.
Okay.
There's no reason for that.
That was why, and that was where my question started, because if I saw all in one direction, it'd be one thing, but I see there's a couple that
Well, it
I've
would make
seen.
sense if it was previous years, because of pre-taxes
Mhm.
for deductions.
Yeah, I'm talking about fiscal year 21,
I-
I'd have to go back and look at the
Yeah,
specific
if you could give me
items.
specifics.
And
I'll
I
look
will,
into it.
I'm not gonna get into dragging it out here tonight, but that was why I was asking. So that would be the case then, in all cases, it's under the health line, that you still, the buyout money that's going to the individuals is under that line
It's
item.
expense under that line, yes.
Okay.
Anyone else? Yes, Earl.
I think this is good that we're going through this because the board is asking questions and then we go into a different software thing. It's not a bad thing to really examine this and make sure that people understand it because people are gonna go in wondering because they look at lines and past performances and suddenly the fluctuations are pretty overt. So, I think to take some time and delve into them because they're pretty prescriptive depending upon the individual's personal stuff, whatever the package involved with them is. So I think it's actually time well spent because it's a first run through for us. And I agree with you that masking term is a little
Yeah, well, yeah, and masking usually means cover up. So, but I understand what it means for the system. Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Just for clarity, if I want to make sure everybody talks loud enough, because I'm not sure if that's going to pick it up or this here. I want to make sure that the person who's going to do the minutes are going to pick this up. So is there anything else for Bob? I don't see a whole lot in here, Bob, that's gone up. In fact, a lot of it has stayed the same, or even some of it has been reduced. Larry?
That a softball question, just to put it in perspective. Compared to the changes on the teachers' step lines, people getting stipends more or less for different things they're doing. If you are using a nominal 5,000 gallons of heating oil, your fluctuation is going to be a simple one based on the price of the fuel oil on the 3-year running average, and maybe an efficiency that lasts for 6 months because the boiler has been cleaned. That's the kind of fluctuation you're seeing on your budgets.
Right, when you get into fuel specifically, it relates to degree days, okay, each season, and the price of the fuel. Yeah. But when we look at it over a long period of time, we have a certain amount of confidence, barring some, calamity in the world, to make sense with what we're predicting.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, anybody else? Then Bob, we're all set with you.
All right, thank you.
I see another gentleman here
Tim?
that I'd like to get at the transportation. That's another big area I'd like to get in here. Then the rest of it, I'll have to ask you, Nate, what can you give us after, but I don't remember the gentleman's name. Eldridge. You're gonna come up and go through your budget? That's on page 21.
It's also page 20.
20,
Yep.
okay. I guess, why don't you go through the highlights of it, and we'll go from there. What's changed in your budget.
Okay. So we've got some salary increases, as you can look through there. The big increase, as you can see, the vocational driver, but I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Nathan, but that was just, it had been allocated in a different line, and we had corrected that.
Yes, we had corrected it last year, but since we went to a default budget, we have to correct it again.
Okay.
That's true for all those lines,
Now,
all the salary lines.
some of these have gone up, but it's understandable. But a lot of this has gone down or stayed the same. There was one in here I wanted to go. I don't see it yet. Okay. What it is, the bus is in here. The new bus is in here. Okay, maybe. Oh, let's see, what line is that on?
21.
Okay,
The buses are down, they're down.
The bus
around
lease is right there.
1163 is the line item. as you look on the very left.
Okay, you're using that, okay.
Just to
One
help
of-
you. Get that, yeah.
I see years in here of buses, and I'm a little confused with what is being leased. I see the MES portion of it, and then I see 4-year, 5-year. Can you tell me a little more
So
about?
basically, we do a 5-year lease.
Yeah,
And the way that works is, if you look like bus number 30, this budget represents year 4 of 5,
okay,
and then the payment follows.
okay, so I'm trying to look for where the new one is coming in.
So down at the bottom, it says include the lease of a
Okay.
new full-size bus, approximately 19,000, and then first year payment of 1 Caravan.
Okay. So, how old is this bus that we are looking for?
Yep.
I mean, the old, which one we're gonna replace, that's what I meant to say.
If you turn to page
45.
45. Thank you. That's the replacement schedule,
Okay,
and obviously this got adjusted. Those vehicles were to be replaced last year, so they're brought back. But it's the 2007 van
okay,
and the 2005 Bluebird.
okay. A lot of mileage on them,
Yep.
okay.
And actually, the 2007, currently, we cannot get that inspected. So we're down a vehicle. If one of the other vehicles have to go in for repair or something, we're
Yep.
in a bit of a pickle. So,
So, it's imperative that we get one this year?
well, we're still working with the garage to try and put that baby back on life support, to bring it back on the road, but not sure where that stands at the moment.
So the Chevy Uplander just is the one you're talking about, and you're replacing that with a Caravan?
Correct, that will be replaced with a Caravan, and then bus number 11, the Bluebird Vision, that will be replaced with a full-size bus.
Okay,
Now, if I could, Bob.
go ahead.
Now, how does that play out with the warrant article that was shot down? I mean, if anybody in here, I mean, last year, the warrant article went in to buy the Caravan. Was that to replace this one?
Correct.
And it was shot down. So, just curious as to, this isn't in a capital improvement plan, or is this supposed to be your new capital improvement plan? That's what I'm asking, so.
Well, typically, the bus purchases or lease, however you look at it, has always been in the operating budget.
I know those have been here, but I'm talking about when we talked about this last March, I mean, in the deliberative session, and then when it got shot down in March, this was gonna go in a capital improvement plan, just like a plow, so that it doesn't come out as an all at once. 27,000 or 48,000, 40,000, depending on what's being done. So that's still not here, and now we're seeing 27,000 in here being added under that's a purchase, not a lease. So I'm confused as to why it's under a lease line. That's, I guess, these are transportation bus leases on both these lines, and that's a purchase.
Well,
outright.
I think
So-
when they finish paying them off, they keep them.
No, I understand that. I'm saying the Caravan's not done over time. That Caravan
Yeah.
that's listed in there is
Yeah.
buy it outright.
If I remember right, I believe that was asked for last year,
Yeah, and it was,
and they pulled it out of the budget.
yep.
They had to, because the budget was too high. And they got their budget down to, I believe it's 2.11, and the whole budget failed anyway. So, and this is a definite need. And does anybody else have any questions on the, I do have one. Are you into that WEX program, or you buy fuel from the state?
Yeah, we do both.
You do both?
Yep. Because sometimes the price will fluctuate a little bit, and we'll go between the two, so. But yes, we do both.
Okay. Is there any questions from the board? Yes, Doug?
So what this board and everybody needs to understand, in order to keep the budget down, we kick things down the road, okay? And eventually what happens to us, we have to do it. We've got no choice. That's what's happening to a lot of these things that you're seeing, they get kicked down the road again, and we're gonna be in serious trouble. We're gonna have to be, we don't get these buses, or we don't get these plow trucks. People think they're gonna save money by kicking them down the can, and they're not going to.
Actually, I think what it come down to, just in conversation, was my comment, and my comment was back in, as well when we had the deliberative session, is that's why we try to put together the capital improvement plan, so it doesn't hit all at once. I agree with you, Doug. They need to
We're
be
trying to do
replaced
this-
over time, you know?
If you, he's doing it partly through what he's taking a 5-year plan. We're gonna try a CIP this time. We'll see if it passes, because we're gonna try with a maintenance vehicle and do it over a 10 or a 13-year period.
And
we'll
that
see
makes
if it
sense.
passes.
No, I'm
I
saying
think
that makes
CIP
sense,
is
though.
a wonderful idea.
Yeah.
We are working towards it. To answer
Trying
your
to.
question,
Yeah.
we're working on the CIP, getting the buses on, we're trying to set up the maintenance plan for the vehicles.
Well, and to touch on it, the reason I asked about the Uplander, because this is, I'm not trying to pick on anybody, I'm just going over what's been happening. This is a very volatile world we're living in out here, you know? So, and the reason I bring that up is you've got a Dodge Caravan here, that's a 2013, that also says replacement is July of 2021. So, it looks like it's 2. In here, is it 2 that are being replaced, or is it 1?
No, that's,
I mean, I'm only going by what you got here for a schedule. That's why I
Yeah.
said that. So when I see the Caravan, that's why I'm saying it, and that's why I asked this. Is you mentioned the 2007 Uplander, okay, but there's a Caravan here that you're saying has got to be replaced next year as well.
right, it's replacement date July of that fiscal year. So-
That's what we're working on. That's
Well-
what this budget is.
Right,
It's
but
July of this year.
of 20.
No. I'm talking about. I'm asking the question because we're working on the budget for
Right.
fiscal year 21,
So be-
which starts July 21. July 20, I'm sorry, you're right, July 20. I apologize, my mistake. I'm thinking we're a year off. You're right. So you're gonna be looking at another one the following year then?
Correct.
Okay.
I want people to realize if we don't get these buses, we're gonna possibly have to make a
Okay.
change in scheduling and picking people up, students up
Yeah.
and bringing them to school,
Yeah.
which is probably not gonna be a happy thing.
No. But anyways, to touch on that too, this all says fiscal year is what's messing me up.
Gotcha.
Because it says fiscal year, July of the fiscal year 20 is, we just went through it.
Yeah, we're running like the town is.
So that's why I'm saying you need to either say this is the year you're replacing it, or the fiscal year is gonna make a difference when you're reading this book. No, I'm saying, reading the book, a fiscal year 21 is, we just had that. I mean, fiscal year 21 is July of next year.
We might want to, excuse me, I'm sorry.
That's why I'm asking.
Go ahead, Earl.
As he's pointing out, we might want to address the way the chart looks, so it's
Yeah,
clear to the people and
Yeah,
also
we-
too,
Teasing
that,
it.
and that's all that is. That's why I was
I'll get
confused.
you. Not
not,
yet.
not relating necessarily to the CIP.
Yeah.
and all that, but I had mentioned when we were discussing this at a school board meeting, I had made some phone calls in places like Tuesday, Thursday, people that go out to various firms, and I talked to some people on the record and off the record in charge of transportation. And what I found was that not, which you all are aware of, not only the miles are key, but the years. So once a bus or a van gets to be 8 years old or 10 years old, some of these places will not even, part of what they do is once a bus or a van is 8 years old, they won't even use it. And one of the considerations also is the kind of miles that it gets. Like if it went out on bus runs, if it was miles up and down hills, or if it was on straight road on a highway. So it isn't only the amount of the miles, but number one, the years of the bus or of the bus, 8 or 10 years. Most places, there's even states that they won't even approve a bus after 10. So once we're looking at the age of these, I think we're running into some, for the sake of the kids in the district looking outward, it's not a real safe thing to be dealing with.
Peg?
Yeah, I just wanted to point out, yes, under that one header, it does say July of the fiscal year, but if you look down below, it does state purchased in July of 2020, and it has the actual year. So, I mean, to me, that's pretty
We'll just,
clear.
we'll take out the
The fiscal
part.
in that column, yeah.
It'll
Yep.
make it a little easier
Yeah.
because you guys, we're not on the fiscal budget for the town and you guys are on the fiscal budget, makes it confusing. I got one other question in dealing with that, and it's only because I got your answer back. The 27,000 and the 19,000 came out to $46,000, but the variant shows 53,340. The answer is that the default budget was wrong. So you're talking about the previous one is wrong?
The default budget we're working on was the 7,000 less than it should have been.
Okay.
So the numbers for.
So the actual,
so
the budget for
The
20.
numbers for this year for the proposed is correct.
And the ones for 20 were wrong?
Yeah.
Okay, was it $7,000 less? On the, because I don't have that default. That
Yeah, I
caravan.
don't,
We was talking about the caravan, I just wanna see what it was.
I'm curious, yeah, well, that's why I'm asking you, because there is $7,000 difference, little over
Okay.
$7,000 difference.
Because of default, last year's default, or this year's default.
The 2020, the fiscal year 20 budget is what you're saying, Nate,
the
was
current
wrong.
year's budget, which is the default,
Okay,
is wrong.
okay. Larry?
However, it remains the legally binding budget since it was enacted by the voters, and mathematical errors are of no consequence once you see. Probably more information than I have. The short Dodge Caravan is now the Dodge Journey. The Uplander is out of production.
I need this board, hold it, Larry.
Yeah, you're right, I'm sorry, I was pointing it out to Andy.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, I was just, wanted to get everybody back in the meeting. Larry, go ahead, I know I threw you off.
The Uplander is out of production. Chrysler has kept production of the Grand Caravan longer than it wanted because it's trying to get only to the Pacifica platform. What rumors have you heard for how long you will have even the Grand Caravan available?
I haven't heard anything. Basically, what we do is when it comes time to purchase, we'll go out in 3 different manufacturers that produce a van. We'll go get quotes from them and then come back and decide on the vehicle.
Because I was thinking only in terms of having to go to a short bus,
Yeah.
which would make things difficult. Okay, thank you.
Anybody else got any questions on it? Yes, Dennis?
I'm just a wee bit confused, but I think it just might just be me. But under the bus leases, are we buying 2 different vans? Are we purchasing 2 vans, one for each area, or are the comments just duplicated?
They're duplicated. So the top part of it says MAS's portion of the total cost.
Right.
So,
Okay.
and then for new, it's their portion. So it's
But
one
not-
van split between the 2 schools at a 40-60.
But the comments are just copied and pasted.
Right, so maybe that would have
Okay,
been easier if
that
you
might-
split the
it might be
cost.
better if we just, if you're trying to put the costs
Yeah.
in the area where it should be. It's a little confusing to look at. It almost looks like you're purchasing vans
For both.
for both. Is there any thought of leasing the vans as opposed to purchasing them to spread the cost out?
We have done that before.
It didn't work out for you, or?
No, it has, but trying to get the vehicle and that sort of stuff, we took an estimated price of what the cost would be, from the Toyotas to the Grand Caravans to, you know, whatever. And that's how we came up with the 27. But we have in the past,
So what would it cost to lease it for 3 years or whatever, I don't know what their terms are. Say for 3 years, would it be less per year to,
well, ultimately, it would be less per year.
which is kind of what we're here discussing, right?
Right.
So,
And I think in the long run, we ended up, I think it was a 4-year lease, and we ended up paying 5 years because of the interest payments or something to that effect. So we end up paying an additional year because of that. So looking at that, not that it wasn't necessarily a bad idea, just we tried to stay away from that and just do the purchase up front, and then we wouldn't end up paying the interest on it.
okay, fiscally though, I think looking at leasing, you know, is a way that we can try to minimize the, you know, the hit that we're seeing. So wherever that's possible, I would suggest that we at least go back and look at that area to see if there's a way that we can cut down that yearly expense.
Bob,
Yes, Melissa?
on that question though, that means every 3 years we would have to go out and get a new van as opposed to buying it and being able to run it
Well,
into
the-
the ground.
What-
It'll roll over. I mean, there's benefits, other benefits to leasing too. I think, you know, if you buy something, your maintenance costs are yours, right? Any maintenance costs are yours, but if you lease it, I think there are at least some things
Well, for
that
the
might be covered under the leases.
Yeah,
So that, you know, could reduce that too, but leases typically, you're only paying for the reduction in overall value of the vehicle, right, for the period that you're using it. Plus, you know, obviously they gotta make money.
Right. One of the
So-
issues that we ran into when we were doing the municipal lease, it wasn't the typical, you get the car for 3 years like you're talking about, and then you turn it back in and get a new one. It was similar to the buses. You make, you know, X amount of payments, and then in the end it's yours. So basically
So it's just a loan.
pretty much.
I still
Oh,
think it's worth taking a peek at. If you-
Yeah, and the
I mean,
only
if
other
you
thing.
just use the Caravan as an example and look at it. I mean, it'll be a little easier to swallow if it costs us, you know, 8,000 in this year, in this budget year, than 27,000.
Yeah, the only other thing that I would, because the lease, if you want to call it, that we had done before, wasn't a conventional lease, but doing a conventional lease, I'm not sure that the school busing would allow that to happen. That's something that I'd have to look into.
Sure.
But I almost think that may become the issue, because where does the liability fall? That's all.
It's if things like this come up when we present this to the people,
True.
we gotta have the answers.
Yeah.
So we might as well discuss it here and throw it out there and
Yeah.
do a little homework.
Sure.
That's just my suggestion.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, I got
Thanks, Bob.
Humphreys.
Yeah, I just wanted to address, I know the police do that, and theirs is I think it's a 5-year. So there are different lease programs, because the police cruisers are leased, and then at the end, they have the opportunity to either buy them or trade them back in. But they are on that capital improvement plan as a lease. I don't know if there's a difference with the buses or not, but it's something that, you know, you might even address with Chief Kraus to find out how he made the arrangements with his, so, you know, in town. But those were, are they at 5, I think?
I think they're 5.
A 5-year lease.
I believe they're 5-year
Yeah,
lease.
so there are some different lease options to, you know, municipalities, including the schools, I'm sure, so.
Larry?
Does the district self-insure for its buses?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So, then, you would, I think, be dealing with a capitalization cost, a fee to purchase, You would be dealing with a specific number of miles per year and a right to purchase at year X when the lease expires. And if that is a conventional automotive lease, given the mileage that the school district puts on its vehicles, that would be something to consider. You would save the pack of costs associated with maintaining liability and collision because you're self-insured. Just more information.
Is there a way we could see this? How long would it take you to put something out there so we could look at it?
I'm not in the office tomorrow, but Friday I can.
Okay. Just so we can look at it and see maybe the difference. If we got the time to do all this. We're running out of time.
I just got one question, Bob. So do you jump on the state bids on vehicles?
We haven't in the past.
Okay.
And I'm not sure, because I have never, I couldn't tell you how that works.
Well, I think it's something that probably we should look into, because that's a potential, a huge savings, jumping on the state bids for vehicles. We do it through the town, and I'm sure you can do it through the school. I mean, it's just something to look into. Probably can save a ton of money.
Is there anybody else?
Just one general.
Go
I
ahead.
know the $109,000 increases. I looked at your diesel in that, and that all made sense. It's a pretty small increase, but an the overall increase on this is almost 18.5% in the overall budget. You talked a little bit about some salary stuff. I understand a little bit about the fact that the caravan's in there again, and the fact, I know the bus lease was already a planned piece. That's a pretty big chunk of change right there. That overall thing, I mean, you're talking 27 cents per thousand on people who are very, very tight right now because of their assessments, as everyone in this room is well aware. So to see that kind of increase, if there's any way of looking at something in here, because there's some increases in here, I ask questions about, and I'm not looking for answers from all of it now, but some general things, we're seeing field trips jumping 73%. Doesn't sound like a lot when you look at the numbers, but when you look at the overall and it just keeps adding up, that's $109,000 in this one budget area is big. So it's just something that would be good to go back and look at. I mean, you get some pretty big increases. I see a 92.5% increase on retirement because of changes in salary. It just kind of, I see a 50% increase in salary, and then I see a 92.59% on retirement. Those numbers kind of just throw me going, how are they so much different? So, just some things.
We don't control that.
No, I understand that, Bob.
Yeah.
I'm talking about I'm just talking about general calculations.
Okay, what it
When you-
is,
But what,
wait a minute, Larry, let me finish that, because I'll lose my thought. Okay, you can look at a line and probably say 50% increase. It could be just 50 cents off $100, or not $100, $1. The percentage sometimes is blown out.
I understand that, Bob, but when I'm talking about the overall $109,000, I'm
Okay.
saying go back and look at some of the higher increases, and is there any place in there where we can save? I don't have the answer. I'm not over there. I'm just looking at and I'm just saying there's some high numbers in here, and I understand that you can't. I'm not trying to question each of the numbers themselves. I'm just looking at when I see some of these increases, is there any way to save anything in any of these areas? Because that's a lot of money right now. That's all.
I'm going to say something here. Every time we make a cut, something's got to suffer. And that's what the town as well. Sooner or later, we're going to hit rock bottom here somewhere. And we're going to pay a price, and there's going to be too much to put back in again. I'm seeing it coming. Okay, I mean, that's only my theory.
Yep.
When you put, what is the cause and effect of some of these things we take out, then we run into trouble. The school's had 3 years of trouble and no money to fix these. And I'm sorry, Humphrey, I don't mean to do it, but
Well, that's all right, Bob. I'm not throwing anything out there either, but I will say this. We're on the budget committee, and if we're only going to sit there and not question and go, then there's no sense in having a budget committee. I'm not challenging anybody and saying anyone's doing anything wrong. I want that to be 100% clear, because that's happened before, because my goal on coming on the budget committee was to try to figure out how to save some money for the people in this town. I don't want to see another default budget, but guess what? If you go and look at the history of the last few years, every vote has been the lowest amount. It hasn't been just a default. When the default's higher, they pick the actual. When the default's lower, they're picking the default. Your default's lower. So I'm only saying there's some things that go back and look at, because when I see that kind of increase, the public's gonna see it too, okay? An $109,000 increase in one section, is there a way to save something in there, is all I'm asking. I'm asking, I'm not, I have no
Okay.
direct suggestion.
We're going into it. Okay, Larry, go ahead.
That, yeah. The charge to the budget committee in chapter 32 is to assess and recommend. And to have a percentage out there without a plan to improve it bashes the figures presented by people who have their boots on the ground. My presumption is that the, if I wrote it down correctly, 18.5% increase in the cost of fuel. Or did I have an error statement? What is your projection?
18.5% was overall. Fuel goes up 10%.
10%. Okay. That when you are dealing with a third-party commodity supplier, they have absolutely no obligation to cut their prices for your benefit. If you are wrong by 100 gallons, and it's a difference of 5 cents, 5 cents on 100 gallons is $5. That is a nickel, literally, that kind of math is a nickel and dime. Salary changes by rights and obligations. When Earl was still, I believe, the superintendent of both districts, and we made the shift, and you were able to provide drivers for all our school buses, all our students. And what did you do to get them? The answer is you paid them more money.
There we go.
And as a result, do we have our bus drivers? And what is the bus driver's salary right now?
That too.
A rough average. You know.
There's a chart in the book.
Yeah, it's anywhere from $14 to $22.72.
So for 22 bucks an hour, you're going to keep 60 kids from death on the highway.
I should have identified that line, that 12710, 58,900-2. It would probably be a lot better if you would have put the totals on everything instead of just putting the lines in here, and then we could see why the 109,000 is there. I know it's a lot of work, but if you broke the lines down, each line, what's the cost in it? Why is it so high? Maybe it would be a better explanation what it is. I mean, you got this all written out, the Transportation Association, seat repair equipment. If we had some ideas, some numbers to look at, then we can see why that thing is up on 109,000.
Those notes are for the miscellaneous. He does have line, there
Well,
are
am
notes.
I
There are
looking at
notes.
109,000 on
The
this?
109,000 is the total. That was what my comment was. I just talked in general when I said 109,000 is the total for the whole department.
Oh,
That
I
was
misspoke. I
yeah, well,
misspoke.
that's what I was trying to bring up. I says, I was just saying in general, there are
Yeah.
notes under each of these line items. There's no doubt, there's some notes in there. My comment was the total is 109,000. Is there a way of coming up with some kind of savings in there? Because that was what it was.
my error, my apology. These things are so closely in here, so. Anyway, any more questions? Okay, we're all set with transportation.
Thank you,
Now-
Jim.
Wait a minute, wait a minute.
Oh.
No. All right, never mind.
Sure. right now, Nate, I'm not sure how much we can get into this, because the principals, do they have, well, wait, I can go further than that. They're here just for the regular education and special
No,
ed?
they're here for quite a bit of this stuff.
Quite a bit of this stuff? Is there something we can talk about without them being here, or?
Yep.
It's on now.
The first function we can talk about is on page 13, school board.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions on that? I didn't see it.
I gotta get to what I had here. Yeah.
We did so much to talk about that. Another reduction overall.
Yep.
Okay, everybody set with school board?
You guys are happy with, you've cut everything out of there that you could? I mean, obviously, when you rack it all up, you get $420,000 over last year. We gotta look at everything possible, right?
Mhm.
Which I know you guys do a great job trying to hold the numbers down. And that's good. Are you satisfied that that's the best you can do in that area? And we should ask the same question every time we go into an
Yeah.
area. Is that the best you think we can do? Because the number at 422 is it's gonna be staggering, to try to justify, so.
Peg?
I can just make one comment, and this is kudos to Nathan. The auditor reduced the contract for next year. Do you want to talk about that, Nate? Because you've done such a good job taking care of the books that they've reduced the rate,
They
correct?
reduced the rate. They said that they wouldn't go over that 13,000.
Yeah,
They come in and leave within about 3 days.
yeah. So I want to make sure that we give some kudos to Nathan and everybody on the board for checking and double checking and Doug has a question or
I have a
comment.
question, comment.
Yes, Doug?
Yeah, we do have large savings in that section. We found that we were ordering too many books. So what we've done over the years, we've whacked the number by 100,
Yep.
150. We're trying to get to a comfortable point, because those books that we give out to the people are pretty expensive
Yes, they are.
to produce them, so we are bringing it down. Do I think there's anything else we could cut in that section? No, I don't. Be honest with you.
I do know
Yes,
that
Melissa.
there have been comments out there about that we're paid for all of our wonderful time to go sit on these boards. And part of the little pennies that we do get for the hours we put
Yep.
in, we donate back to the scholarships. So I want that understood by the people, because you all know, no matter what is out there, we put a lot of time into any board, whether it's the school board, the budget committee. Nobody is out here doing it for the money. Although some people may think we all are. We aren't. So
Well,
we
I know
make
you,
sure
I can tell you,
ourselves-
we're not doing it for the money, we don't get paid.
But what little that we do is, we do give back to our scholarships.
But I want to say the school board does work hard. I sit on your meetings, and the work that you people do is incredible. It's incredible. I just don't know how you can do it, because at one time I wanted to sit on the school board, but I don't think I could do it. It is a lot of work.
If you give us an idea to look at it, we look at it.
Okay, so,
Thank you, Bob.
all right. Okay, we can go to the next one. The SAU expense. Would you like to go through that, Nate? Or does anybody have any questions?
Go back and see what the answers were. I gotta find it.
Nobody got any questions on the SAU?
No, I'm going back through to see what
Okay,
I had
okay.
here for a moment. Give me a second if you will.
Sure.
I guess biggest one is just the increase on the salary percentage. There's some in there that were high. That was,
Yeah, I see it too.
starting right there, 16.79% increase.
I'll talk on that.
Huh?
I'll talk on that.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I'm just,
Certification changed.
Okay, this is the 100 line, 100, 2320.
yeah, it's the second line in, yep.
Yeah,
Has to
511,
names be mentioned.
I'm not, that's,
business administrator.
notice I didn't say anything name-wise. Would
Okay.
not do that.
Well,
Just
no.
asked, and I talked to the percentage. Okay?
Certification changed.
Nate, did you get to be a financial director?
Business administrator.
Okay, so you stayed there? I thought you were going to move up.
No, I was a financial manager.
You were,
but
okay.
I got certified.
Okay.
So I'm a business administrator now.
If I,
Second line.
if,
I'll give you the page.
you've taken on more jobs, and I anticipate that you're still doing that, all that you showed us last year,
Mm-hmm.
because of the split. Instead of doing less, you're doing more.
Yeah.
So, how many people you taking
Excuse me.
place? I know you're taking on more jobs. There's less people in the SAU.
There's three of us.
There's 3 of you?
Yeah.
Okay. You're taking on extra jobs.
Yes.
And that means we don't
We
have to
all are.
hire. Yeah. And that's why it makes it possible for Milton to become a standalone SAU.
Yeah.
Any questions or anybody? I mean, yes, Peg?
The only thing I would like to say is certification, I mean, with teachers, when they obviously have to be certified in order to start teaching, but the more education they get, they're actually, and I don't want to call them steps, we call them lateral moves, but there are other qualifications, other qualities, other whatever, but they end up getting more money because they are learning more, they are becoming better educators, whatever. And I think that needs to be stated here, that certification is a big thing. And if we were to replace our current person, we would have to definitely pay this money or more. We probably would not get a person for this. Same.
Well, can I ask,
Yes, Dennis?
on that, do you have a certification budget, or are you obligated or feel obligated to whenever someone decides to go get a certification?
All right, as far as the teachers are concerned, that's part of the current CBA or our contract language. This was, yes, the person is moving into a more in-depth realm of the financial aspects of the school district. And seriously, I think what I just said about trying to replace that person, should that person leave, we would probably be hard pressed to find anybody for less than that money, and most likely more. But if you go on to, must be the DOE, and look up some of the salaries of business managers across the state, you will see some huge.
I get all of that, and I
Yeah.
understand retention very well.
Yep.
The problem I have with all of that is that we may get to a point where we can't afford those kind of increases, regardless of where the justification is coming from. We just can't afford it. It's why you actually have a budget, because you try to arrive at numbers you think you can afford, and we allocate that money for that purpose. When does we identify that we've hit the limit as to what we can afford?
Yeah.
It's just, I don't.
Bob, can I?
Go ahead.
I hear what you're saying. However, what would happen if our current person left? And obviously, we are going to need some sort of a financial business manager. And we either hire somebody who's not certified at a lower salary, and all of a sudden everything else goes up because of the errors made, or we hire a comparable. No, I need to finish. Or hire a comparable person at more money.
I hear you. It's
I know.
called management, right? It's called, it's basically what we all have to do. The point is that at some point in time, we've got to make a decision as to what we can afford to do. And it all has to fall below that line. And it's our job to make sure that we make sure that it falls below that line. And unfortunately, I think the people are going to tell us, or have been telling us, what they believe we can afford or what they can afford. It's not us in this room. It's what they can afford. So I'm just throwing it out there. There are things that we can look at that we think are automatic, that are, we can justify them in 9 ways to Sunday. But if we can't afford all the justifications, where do we go from there? We go to a default budget. So I'm just...
Oops. Okay, you all done, Dennis?
Yeah.
Humphrey?
Sorry.
That's okay.
And to touch on what Dennis is talking about, and the reason I'm challenging things in here too. There is a budget, and there is a point in time where the budget's going to break. I know I lived it at the shipyard, and I've said it before, and I've said it in meetings, and I'm going to say it again. We were told no more increases. Not only no more increases, but you figure out how to cut 10% out of your budget. And we ended up cutting employees, and we ended up cutting a whole bunch of things. And then the following year, they said, now figure out how to cut another 10%. We're reaching the boiling point in this town. I mean, I don't believe in all the Facebook aspects of things, but there are people on the Facebook right now that are talking about the Milton Tax Cap Association, because they do not want to see a single penny increase, because we just get hit with everything. So yeah, we're challenging you guys, just like we're challenging. I'm not saying go cut everything, but Dennis is right. I mean, I'm only looking at highlights. I don't have all the answers, and I certainly am not looking at names, because I don't want to. This isn't a thing about. This has never been about anything personal, and it never should be. This is business. And in this town, our business here as a budget committee is to turn around and try to figure out how to cut money. We did that with the town budget. We actually got the town budget under last year's default budget. I don't know how to do something here, but 421,000 and change increase is not going to sit well with the public, so we're just trying to find out where some of the savings may still be able to come from before we put this on the books. That's all.
Okay. Larry?
Mr. Chairman, that is categorically not the function of the Budget Committee. The Budget Committee does not exist, to quote you, to cut the budget. The charge to the Budget Committee is the prudent appropriation of public funds. If you want to talk about the shipyard, you can go to Foster's and read the massive cost overruns done with the clever budget handling of the shipyard. What I'm concerned about is I have been here longer than Bob, and I was following the school board back before Michael Tercey was here. I was here when a business manager did not know about automatic data payroll calculation. I was here when Mr. D'Agostino came and left, and I was here when one of the better things that Michael Tercey did by hiring me when he was learning the ropes. He just told you that the audit is going to be here for 3 days. Why? He told you. Because these books are clean and tight. The other thing that I am tired of hearing is, Nathan, what was the variance, to use the budget term, for FICA for the last quarter about 3 months ago? I think there was a 70-cent error in favor of the school district. 70-cent error after all the junk of going 7.63, 7.77, 7.21. Turns out there was a 70-cent error in the FICA calculation. And the audit came through, and it was tight and clean, and the audit comes through for the town, and for 3 years, they have been tight and clean. And I have heard nothing from this budget committee about how to make a prudent recommendation for the costs that are here. Tim just told us that his fuel costs are going up 10%. Do we agree that is a prudent recommendation, and do we sign on? Nobody has said that. Why not?
Actually, I did. I said that I understand the increase in the diesel. I looked at the overall and asked about something. So, Larry, I'm going to take offense to you getting upset when me asking a question or stating it. No, I'm going to finish, Bob, for a moment, okay? I'm simply talking about Dennis's thing. I'm not trying to throw the shipyard into this other than they reached the boiling point and they ended up telling us to cut. I don't want to see default budgets. I don't want to see people not get pay raises. I want to see something done prudently. That's what I'm working on. I know you've been here a long time. That's fine. But guess what? Things are changing, and the town is trying to tell people that they don't want to see any more increases. So all I'm asking for is to find ways to save some additional funds. That's all. So,
Now, the only problem, excuse me, Larry, the only problem about that, where is the public? Where is it?
Right here.
Well, they're up there.
They're up there. How many?
Oh, but they're watching.
Okay? Seems though it's always the cut, but then when we do, somebody gets hurt. Okay? We're trying to put a decent budget together. Okay? Something good. I mean, I know. And another problem we do have is revenues. We need to get more revenues in this town.
Yes,
to
we do.
help take off some of this off the backs of the other people. And I think I'm going off on the wrong place. I'll take Melissa first.
As a board member, actually, I have to say I appreciate Humphrey's questions, because not, while he's asking them, we can give him the answers. He can see what we've cut out, and not just take it for granted. So personally, I'm not taking offense to any of the questions that they're bringing up, because they are
Okay.
questions that are going to be asked. And by answering them, we can show that we have come forward with the most leanest budget that we possibly can without jeopardizing the education of our students. So I do appreciate the comments and the questions, because it gives us a chance to address them.
Okay, very good. Betsy?
As a member of this community as well, I have two comments. Number one, in general, the community also wants good services. And I think they're willing to pay for them as long as they are getting their money's worth. Number two, I think that you can see that the school board has been supported when more people showed up at that extra voting session than it ever shows up at the deliberative sessions, that there are people out there that support the schools.
Okay.
And to say that just because it's expensive doesn't mean that it's not worthwhile.
I just think we need to put a prudent one, but one that, I hate to say it, but it's got to be affordable, but not hurt the students or the teachers. They're valuable assets to this town. We even got some on the town that are very valuable. How do we keep them? It's something we have to look into, but it's not our job to do so.
Bob?
Yes,
Oh,
Doug?
we can bring this budget down, but you know what's gonna happen, I agree with you, Betsy, is it's gonna cut services. Cut some drastic services. You talk about what determines the market someone's worth is the salaries you pay. We've lost police officers, you've lost men at the highway department, don't tell me you haven't, because I know you have.
I know we have.
We're in the same situation.
Who said we?
Okay.
Let me
Okay.
finish up talking,
Okay, you got the floor.
all right?
Let's not go off here, okay?
Okay, we are losing good people.
Yes, we are.
Police, highway department,
Mr. Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
thank you. First of all, your comment, Doug, looking at me saying that was actually appalling, because I didn't say anything. All right, we have lost good employees in this town. because of retention pay. All right. So your comments were really out of line.
Thank you.
And I don't need to be to look at me. All right.
Okay, let's try
No,
to
no,
keep-
I take it offensive, Bob.
Either we
okay?
do this or we'll stop.
All right. So my question is, I understand what Humphrey and Dennis is saying. I mean, we're just trying to be realistic here, and I don't want to set the school board up for failure. That's not what for asking for a $12,000 increase, I personally think that's what might happen. And, we just have to think of the taxpayers here. That's the only thing I'm saying. And,
Okay, you all done, Andy?
yeah.
Okay,
thanks.
I want to go back to the budget. We got sidetracked real bad here. Has anybody got any more questions on the SAU expenses? Okay, can we go to the office of principal?
That one we have to skip.
That one we have to, all right. What's the next one we can deal with?
The next one is
Knowledge, consent. Okay.
no. Let's skip that because part of that is with the teachers, the principal. So I'd say support services,
Okay.
page 23.
Okay,
You got workers' comp, unemployment, which is mandated.
okay. Got any questions on that?
Actually,
Anyone?
the wellness is mandated too. So
It
it's all
is?
mandated, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I do.
yeah.
I do.
all right.
On that one, I didn't, where does that tie in though? I understand it may be a mandated thing where it says wellness FICA. That was the one where I could tie FICA to salaries all over the place in here. How does that one tie in? Is that,
The
because it doesn't
Health
apply to the, it's not under the workman's comp. I mean, there's nothing else in that category that it ties to, correct?
it ties to our health insurance has a program called I don't remember what it's called. It's like a benefit for incentives to stay healthy, and they get quarterly
Okay.
bonuses paid through school care, and we have to pay for the FICA on that.
Okay. Anything else, Humphrey?
Yeah.
Any more questions? Anybody? All set? Okay, what else? We can't go very far, can we?
The sale of bond notes.
Okay,
That's a bond we've had for the past 19 years, I think.
uh-huh.
What page are we on, please?
It's the bottom of 23 going on to 24.
Thank you. Well, when you switch, can you
Yes, I'll
give
do
us a
that.
page number?
Yeah, I will. Okay,
Thanks.
I'll do that.
And this budget will be the last payment on that.
Okay, so it's paid off this year then. Is it this year or?
In August of
August of-
2020.
Okay.
It'll be paid off, yeah.
All right. So the only other thing, any questions on that? Okay, same page, 24, the food service, can you talk about that?
Yep. Based on the contract on page 48, I could only go by what we have so far.
Yeah.
We won't see a new contract until probably February.
Okay,
But this spells out their projected income and projected costs,
okay,
and we have to. Let's see. The food service has to have a zero balance at the end of the year.
yeah,
And as you see, the net return to the cost to the district is $29,998.
okay.
That's where that number comes in,
All right.
the transfer.
Larry?
At what point will we be able to renegotiate contract with the food contract people in terms of the custodial position which is assigned?
We can negotiate every single year.
Calendar or fiscal?
Fiscal.
Fiscal.
Yep.
So, this July of next year, it is possible those figures might change if the cost of cleanup for preparing the meals goes back as a cost to the service provider?
Yes, like I said, this is an estimate at this point because they don't start that process until February. And by, we're halfway through this, through the budget before, so it's a guess.
Go ahead.
If I remember correctly, come to the schools negotiating and to the quality of supervision and food provided, the food balance used to be was closer to $50,000 in final cost of the district, and that has come down.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was at one point 80,000.
It was, okay, I remember
Yeah.
84, but I didn't want to be greedy. Yeah. Yeah. So that is remarkable. And that represents negotiation. Are you the negotiator for that?
Earl and I do it, yes.
Yeah. Duly noted. Thank you.
Okay,
On a note on that, we put out for bids every year.
yeah.
And what did we get, one bid last year? Oh,
We can do it every year. We chose to do it this year, going into this year, and they were the only ones that bid, yes.
And we opened it up to the public, so.
Yeah.
I even reached out.
Right.
There's just not a lot of competition in New Hampshire.
Any questions from the board? Okay. Transfer for grant expenditures? We can talk about this?
Yep, this goes back to gross appropriating. We have to ask the voters for federal grants in order to expend them when it's anticipated. Anticipated revenue for us is Title I, Title II, IDEA. Also for next year will be DHHS. We know we're getting 50 grand.
Okay.
Those numbers are what we're currently approved for.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Okay.
Yes.
Larry?
Thank you. On gross appropriation, and what Doug will say regularly, money at the end of the year coming back to the district, even though it is an excess for the actual operating cost of the district. Right now, the unassigned general fund, that which can be used to pay the county tax bill, which can be used to pay the state school tax bill, which are due January 1st, is razor thin to having the money available to it. The general fund accumulates without paying to the taxpayer by those funds surplus to the town, which are returned by both the town and school district. Next year, without any impact on the general fund, that will be closer to the figure recommended by DRA, and that will take the burden off the town in dealing with next year's January 1st county and state levies. So the money of the gross appropriation unspent is not lost. It is both a taxable deduction against your property tax this year, and when it goes into the general fund, you do not get taxed if it gets recovered and used by the town. So it's even cheaper than the money you were paying on your income tax. Just a thought.
I remember, Humphrey, you had something about the controllables on page 25.
Yeah,
I was
on
looking
page,
at,
and I do, and if we turn to page 25, for a moment. The percentage of increases, the calculations that show on the right are very misleading because it's not based, when you're doing percentage of increase, it should usually go from year to year. What's that percentage of increase in that particular area? These were all based off the total for the fiscal year 20. So, and it stood out quite a bit when I looked at controllables first. It's gone from 314,756.13 in fiscal year 20 to 385,1193 in fiscal year 21. So there's a 70,255.80 variance. It is not 0.7% increase. That's 22.3%. To sit there and you can turn around and base it on a lot of things, but the increase is based on what was it, what is it now, you know? So that really shouldn't show based on how it affects the total budget. That's not a percentage of increase. That's the same with the others. The first three items, it's actually 1.34%, 2.4%, and 7.8% for those three items. So contractual obligations, a lot more than 1.89% when you're looking at it overall. So.
Okay, Nate, how's that calculated anyway?
I tried to show the increased percentage of the 3.82 without federal grants and where those are in reference to the overages for the salary, for the salaries, benefits, contractual obligations, and controllables.
But what it really comes down to is you use the 10,065,000 for fiscal year 20. All of these calculations are that amount to the total.
Yeah, to show the increase based on just the 3.82%.
But I understand, but it's really not in percent of increase over the thing. It's maybe, I understand what you're trying to say now, but when you're looking at a line item, you're trying to, what's the percentage of increase? That's why we're coming back down to what you said earlier, a percentage. A 5% increase on $5,000 is a lot more than a 50% increase on $1, you know, those types of things. Just like every one of your line items in here shows what the percentage of increase is, to me, when you're calculating that, the public should see, if they're looking at the books, what's the actual increase for that from the previous fiscal year, not how does it roll up to the $10 million. So you can do that in another way to show that.
Okay.
You really can't add percentages and make them work out that way.
The controllables are very, very small. It was 1 year, I think it was 0.4%. Was it last year?
But again, that's 0.4 versus the overall budget,
Well-
not against the previous year.
I'm not sure how that works. I'm not
Yeah.
I
Well,
haven't-
again, 0.7%. I understand where Nate came from when he's saying it. He says 0.7%. That's 0.7. That's $70,000 is 0.7% of the
Okay.
$10,065,000.
Okay, I think I'm seeing.
He's
it.
kind of rolling this whole thing up. I can, thought I'd be better off showing.
I was trying to show
I think
out
I
of
got
the
it.
3.8% to 3.82%
Yes,
increase.
0.7% of
What
that,
percentages of
not
those
of the
were
previous line item.
controllable?
What's that?
I said out of the 3.82%
Yeah.
increase, I was trying to show out of that percentage
Yeah.
what was controllable and what wasn't.
Okay,
That's all.
that gets confusing.
Yeah.
It wasn't meant to be. The last,
So that's probably the last thing we
well,
can.
the
we can-
last thing would be the food service itself, 200 function.
Okay, I thought we just went through that a little bit.
We went through the
did.
transfer. of
Oh,
food
okay.
service.
Go ahead, then we'll get,
And this is a good example of negotiating after the fact, because for FY19, we actually had the $284,548.83. That is for FY20 budget.
yeah.
That was the default from FY19. But we renegotiated and knocked off $44,000.
That's good. Good.
Negotiated with whom?
With cafe services.
Anybody got any questions on that? So I guess we've gone as far as we can. Earl?
Actually, Because tomorrow night may go a little bit longer because we have the schools and we have the sped. One of the things we might want to look at and allow Nate to give some clarification. If you look on page 50, on page 50, you see the default there. So one of the things that perhaps we can take a look at is the default, and then Nate could provide an explanation at the end as we spoke about this at the school board meeting when explaining the default. Both some of the folks on the board had some very good questions about that. So if Nate wanted to quickly go through the default for you,
Okay.
you would have that in your mind. I think it's page 50 to 60. So yeah.
50, yeah, 50.
And then more specifically too, at the end, he can explain grants in there. Because there's grants in there, like there's, I remember 32,000 or so that are stray off from the default. And then the default winds up as 13, but 13,000 below the proposed. But sometimes it gets confusing because it looks like, I think, 50 in there, but you gotta take the grants off, so I'll let David tell that.
Go ahead, Nathan.
He pretty much said it.
Actually, I got a question on it.
Oh, go ahead.
Under that, okay, I understand how defaults work in general, but I'm trying to figure out the teacher salaries. If the proposal's going down based on contract, from 893 down to 848, how does the default go up to 910,000?
Because we had to add contractual obligations that was approved by the voters through the previous CBA.
So the default's gonna go to the previous one? Not the current one that you just, and that's what I'm asking, because I mean, I thought the reason we were lowering the salaries was based on the new contract, right, for fiscal year 21?
They aren't working on a CBA this year.
Okay, Doug, go ahead.
We inadvertently, in the past CBA, through the years, we left things out that should have been put in the default budget. Okay,
Yeah.
one of them is, during the year, you're allowed 4 teachers to retire, and you're supposed to pay them $8,500. They tell us by November, okay? In the past, we never put that in. That's just one example, and I think there might be a couple others. So that's why you might see your increase in that default end. We were leaving things out we should have been legally putting in there, and we haven't in the past. We've got clarification on it.
Any other questions? Okay, any questions at all from the committee? Or you wanna wait till maybe tomorrow, and we can go over it again?
I'll just soon wait until we go through it.
All right. So I guess this is as far as we can go tomorrow night. I will have to let you, Larry, you got a question?
But just the going back to the point of what can the town afford. Comment on that if it's
Go ahead.
convenient to the chair at the moment.
How's that?
Okay.
Go ahead.
And my own problem is that I like the big pictures too much. 1978, my good Baptist mother was getting 14.8% on her CD. Paul Volcker, by 1981, had brought the inflation rate down to 4%. Right now, the Fed is loaning money at 0%. There is full employment, there should be wage pressure, and no one is talking about inflation. And the question was raised on one of the finance programs, why that is. And the answer was it was a consensus of people that there was no inflation. And manufacturers and wholesalers, since they're not talking inflation, have not started to put inflationary pressures on their own product and supplies. What does that mean for Milton? If you have people who are talking about the terrible tax burden they have, that becomes the dominant conversation. If you want to find out where we stand for taxes, you go and you get the tax rate for Milton, you get the tax rate for Farmington, for Rochester, and Dover. And you find out what the tax cap has done in Rochester and Dover. You find out what the valuations of the townships are in Farmington, Rochester, and Milton. Then you have to find out what the median income is in Milton versus Farmington versus Rochester. Then you have a statistical base to discuss what is a reasonable and prudent budget for the upcoming year. I haven't seen that happen.
Okay.
I believe that was put in your packets, because I did that last year, and going to use that information.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing that.
Well,
That's it. I really not.
It was,
Okay.
it was the town salaries, it was not.
Is there any questions that anybody wants to look at? Is there anything at all?
Betsy just said.
Yeah, just one last
Go ahead,
question.
Andy.
So overall, what is the school board budget from last year to this following fiscal year that we're gonna be going into? What is it up percentage-wise? How much money?
The proposed budget, without federal taxes, without federal grants, is 3.82%.
Okay, and how much is that money-wise? Revenue?
It's-
Expense-wise, it's
10,840,000. Oh, wow.
yeah, I didn't calculate. With the federal grants, it's 421,000.
So it's up 421,000
With the federal grants, yeah.
in the federal grants, okay.
Okay.
And without the grants, we can give you that thing.
I'm working that right now.
390, 397.
384, 770, 75.
Yeah, 384 just came up.
What was that again? Three what?
Without grants.
It's that much.
So how much is it up?
384,
384,
770,
770,
0.75.
75. Okay.
What was it again? 38, what? 834.
That's what the school budget's up this year.
384, 770, 75.
Okay, that's with the,
And the difference between the default and the.
So that was gonna be my next question, if you don't mind, Peg.
go ahead.
66, page 66 is the,
Yeah, the default budget is up $371,148.26.
371148.
26.
Okay, 26.
So either way you look at it, the school budget's going up $370,000, either way you look at it, for the default or their proposed budget they're asking for, just for transparency. That's all I have.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Then what we'll do is we'll stop it here and then we'll wait till tomorrow. I will have to let you know if I can get this room. I'll come down early enough to see if I can have it. I really gotta make sure nobody else took it, the spot, so.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
so that'll be right around $1 per 1,000 on our tax rate. Just,
without doing nothing right now.
I'm sorry, what did you say was?
It'll be right around $1.
Mr. Moderator, that's not correct.
Well,
Okay,
I'm just-
Doug?
It's $490,000. That's your new tax rate.
All right, so it'll be around 75 cents.
Thank you.
Around 75 cents on your tax rate.
All you do is look at your evaluation, divide it by 1,000, and that'll give you what your figure is.
Okay. Any more? Okay. Then I'll let you people know as soon as possible. I'll let the committee know and I'll contact you one way or another as early as I possibly can. Okay? I have to make sure somebody else didn't book the room. Doug?
I make a motion that this school board adjourn.
Second.
Who seconded it?
Okay.
Peg.
Peg?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
No.
I lost my agenda. Okay. Next thing on there and
Minutes.
of minutes.
Does the chair wish a motion to table the minutes?
No, we're not going.
I,
Oh, okay.
I'm,
You have, everybody should have October 22nd. I don't know if it was sent out to you guys. It was not.
No,
Oh, you know what? I will make a motion to approve October 22nd.
Wait.
minutes.
You guys haven't seen it. Okay?
There's nothing to see. Bye, school board.
Well, I'm gonna knock that all over the
I
place.
could ask you a question. Did you see the changes, the suggestions I had on the minutes on the others? Because I know they weren't saving and I had to send them to everybody.
I think what it is,
They weren't saving in the drive, so.
I got them on here.
I did the 2nd, the 12th, and the
Okay.
21st.
We have a meeting going on here. We're gonna try to approve the minutes. I gotta get those. I've got some extras. Just got it.
Right? That's what I thought. I do this.
Earl?
It's a 3-page document, and I thought maybe I sent them out. If I can find just one or two of them, then you guys can share it. 22nd, there's the 22nd. I got one of them. And I got another one here. Andy wants to see it, and Dennis.
I thought you were gonna put a sticker on the board.
She put it on the mouth, she did.
I can't find the others.
That's the mask.
I know I did.
Thank you
Yep.
all.
Thanks, guys.
Good night.
Nice seeing you all.
easily say.
See you tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, I got one more. Dennis, you didn't get one yet?
You go.
You do.
This,
October 22nd.
Yeah, I handed them the one. I'm going over this one. Yeah, this one looks fine. Bob. This one
Okay.
looks changed.
All right, now I gotta find mine. All right. I'm gonna need a motion to approve the October 22nd meeting minutes.
So
I'll
sad.
make a motion.
All right.
Oh, I already had.
Yep, and I will second it.
But,
Okay? Larry?
a small point, the Lido is going to be part of the Rochester Business Park down on 108, not the Milton Business Park.
Oh, I didn't see- I was wondering what that
What
was.
page?
Page 3. They got a actually a revolving loan of $3.8 million dollars through the Economic Development
What the heck is
Department of Rochester.
Okay,
But,
what, you said 3, well, Larry, oh, there it is,
yeah.
okay.
So if
Oh, just add Rochester?
add Rochester Business Park on 108.
Okay, Business
And the
Park.
revolving loan of $3 million can stay the way it is. I may have been wrong on a small change.
yeah, okay, on Route 108,
Yeah.
okay.
I don't know.
Anybody else got any corrections to be made? Okay, we didn't vote on that yet. Or did we?
No, we did the motions.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, those are done. November 2nd. And I believe, Humphrey,
Yeah, I guess
all
I-
those did come out. I mean, I got blue on this one. You didn't save it, but I saw there was a
I
lot of...
sent them to everyone because what was happening is they wouldn't save on the drive.
Ah.
So that happened on the last couple. I ended up actually having to push one of them into the drive so we could do it.
Okay.
I think I chopped it 3 times before I went, okay, I'm about
Yes, Larry?
That, for the record, my wife's email is not part of this committee, and no materials are to be sent to my wife's email. I am content to do the work of the committee when the committee meets on the day that it is here.
Okay.
Fair enough.
All right,
That was directed at Bob, right?
that's all right.
Oh, I'm sorry that,
I'm not offended by it.
You know, he keeps looking at me when he's talking.
that,
Makes me nervous, Larry.
wrestling injury, in 1959, it's easier to keep the head like this.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, I need to get back here, okay?
I'll make a motion to approve the November 2nd minutes.
I'll second it.
Okay. Has everybody had a chance, discussion? Has everybody looked at them, to see any other corrections that need to be made? Dennis, you all set?
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The motion passes. The November 12th minutes, has anybody had a chance to look at them? These, all the corrections are in here. Anybody else see anything else? If not, I would like a motion.
Move to approve with the corrections noted.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion by Larry, second by Andy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
I have to abstain. I was not there.
Okay, one abstention. Okay, November 21st. I gotta look at this for a minute. Something doesn't look right. Okay. I apologize for the color. For some reason, this printer is not printing the way it should. But anyway,
You need some red ink.
oh, I got red ink. It's just that the the printer's not working well. So I need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the November 21st minutes with the corrections as noted.
Second,
Okay, second, well, I think,
either way.
okay. Motion by Peg, second by Andy. Discussion on this. Does anybody see anything at all in there? Anything else other than what Humphreys put in, I think? Okay. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, motion passes. And I didn't do the 26 yet because I sent it to Humphrey.
Oh.
No, I sent it to the chair and
It came out, I know I chopped it.
you put it
You
on.
And I
Sent it
sent it
out,
back,
and
I sent
then-
it back out, because again, that was another one they weren't saving.
Okay,
And Tammy, Sherry sent it to me too. So,
what's gonna happen here is that mine's gonna, the one I sent out, I sent it the day before, only for one reason, and I'm not gonna get into it, but it's gonna be mine, it's gonna go. We have to remember something. I'm not sure if I dare to say anything, I'm gonna let it go as it is, but it's gonna be mine and the one that you posted. You already made corrections, I didn't print them out, I'll do them tomorrow, because, and just in case not everybody went in there to make corrections. So, if everybody
Yeah,
okay
there's
with
not a
that?
lot, it's just minor editorial
Yeah,
corrections.
yeah,
There's
that's,
not a lot on it, you know.
I just wanted to make sure.
And
Yeah.
by the way, just for your sake, I did put it in the drive. So it's
Which
in the
one?
November drive. I did put it in the November drive, so you could get to it
November,
with
okay.
my corrections.
I was in there somewhere. I know I got it, but I'm not sure if I can get back
Well,
in
if
it.
you can't, let me know, and
All right.
I'll send it back to you.
Okay, all right.
And we can wait on that one until you get a chance to go.
I want to get it done, oh,
Yeah.
that's right. Did anybody have a chance to go into it, to look at it as it is? I don't know if there's any more changes. I left it out tonight because I didn't put it on the agenda because I sent it out kind of late. That's Peg?
well, I looked at
I
it
agree.
online because it was just a Word document, and I kind of went through and
You made the changes?
I didn't make any changes, and I don't know how to put it in the Google Drive, and then all of a sudden I got one from Sherry, and I got one from you, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, which one? So,
It's the one that is posted. I had to post that one before, and I'm not gonna go through any more of that, because I'm at a
Okay.
point where I'm not sure what I should be saying anymore.
okay, so the one that you sent is the one that I should really be looking
Yeah.
at.
The one that Humphrey's got,
It's currently in the, I do have it in the Google Drive with my comments.
And I
It's-
can't correct in the Google Drive. It
I-
doesn't
No,
let
just,
me.
you can, no, but you can see what was in there to see, you
Okay.
said that way you can see what the change,
Okay,
the
so-
editorial
All
changes
right, I will
were.
look then.
Tomorrow-
It is in the November folder.
okay, so what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna print them out, I'm gonna have to add to the agenda for, I'm not gonna add it, it's gonna have to come in any other business, but it comes before the board. So, that's the other thing, any other business that may come before the board, has anybody got anything? Larry, any other business on the board
Oh,
that comes
that-
before the board?
A consensus to thank the vice chair for his work on the minutes.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Second it.
Third it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
Don't
not easy
make
doing
that
it.
a habit. I'm not,
When is,
What, of thanking you or making you do the minutes?
I don't like the idea of taking minutes. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm doing it because somebody had to. And quite frankly, I don't care one way or the other. Somebody likes it, somebody don't. You have it, okay? It's more time for me that I gotta do other things that I just can't finish doing. Okay, Dennis, did you have anything?
when is that gonna get rectified? Is Sherry still,
Sherry is still in. She's been ill, and I've been
but she,
taking over, and she's supposed to be doing these tonight,
oh, okay.
okay?
I
But
was just concerned that I didn't hear anything about her getting better. And we haven't seen her for quite some time, so.
Well, I hope,
Just asking.
I wish her well, and
Yeah.
hopefully she feels better soon. So,
yeah, so do I. I'm letting her do it by video, but I have a I can't say anything.
No.
No.
Zip your mouth.
Jesus, I feel
Moving
really
on.
okay. Public comments or questions? Go ahead, Betsy.
All right. I see that Dennis has already packed up, but you're not going anywhere for a while. I have 2 clarifications for your November 2nd meeting. I have 3 points that I want to point out to you. I have only listened to about 20 minutes of the November 21st meeting, but I have already found 3 points of misinformation, and I also have a general comment about the November 21st meeting. So starting with November 2nd, there was a comment that was raised that said Betsy wants a raise. You all should know that the budget that was submitted to you was the trustees' budget, not Betsy's budget. Second point, there was a comment where you were talking about changing my job title to supervisor. Your purview is not to decide what my job title is. If any one of you wants to change my title, the next trustee meeting is January 8th. Misinformation on November 21st. As I said before, I only listened to the recreation and the library budget discussion. And under recreation, it was discussed to change the salary line because they were not including vacation. All of the Milton employees get vacation. They get sick days. They also get holiday pay. Number 2, somebody noted that the recreation director had an increase in salary of 80%. Please show me that work. Under the library, and this is in the minutes. Number one, there was a discussion of changing the salary line because the salary was not current with, the expenditures were not current with the salary line. And I have here the expenditure report from October. And you will see that it was, the percentage, we're actually just a tiny bit over. And you have to excuse me, I'm more than a little angry. All right, so, Bob, right here, you'll note the runtime expenditure report current as of October, 83% of the year was 80, almost 86% spent.
Okay. See, this is a detailed report, something we don't even get anymore. We used to get it.
Well, apparently it was put in as fact. Also in the minutes that there was, apparently the increase was just, it was understood by all of you that the increase was only for me. It was also for my assistants. Actually, I have the expenditure report for December, as of November. It's my understanding that one of the departments got an increase because under their expenditure report, they were overspent by a certain amount that they felt was egregious. I will show you that under contracted services, I am currently over $16,772. You gonna increase my line? Finally, I'm going to say that I think that as far as the way you considered the library budget was ridiculous. You opened up for, did you hear it? You opened up for discussion the library. You then went on to the other lines. You said, oh my goodness, we still are 10,000 away from our goal. So I guess where we're gonna cut is the library. Shame on every one of you who didn't speak up.
I agree with her. There should have been people on that board, there's experience on that board, that should have spoke up when you were mentioning people's employees' names publicly. That's totally wrong. You as a budget committee had no right, you have no right for a non-public. You have no right to do that. If you would like to talk to me after, I'll be glad to talk to you.
Sure,
You want one-on-one.
I appreciate it.
You want to shut that off, I can say it to you.
Okay,
For these-
enough. We do this off, you guys wanna do this offline, go ahead. I've lost, okay, next regular meeting, tomorrow night. Tentatively, still, I'm gonna hold that school, but I'm gonna try and get it here. Okay, be better off if it's on the video. Okay, and I'll notify you as soon as I can get in here and get it, okay. I'll send it to the committee. Okay, need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
All right.
What time is it?
8:08.
Thank you. Jeez. I was not.